Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Scott with Let's Get Your Mind Right, certified hypnotist, NLP practitioner, empowerment coach, and I got a question for you guys. If you want to learn language patterns to the point where the online gurus who teach it don't want to work with you because they're afraid of what your capabilities could be, then I'm your guy. In fact, if you want to be powerfully persuasive in regular conversations, well, then let me introduce to you our program called Sleight of Mouth. Tharpo and I break it down for you in these easy-to-follow instructional videos so that you can learn how to hold your own ground with any conversation and become empowered with these verbal abilities. I really do want the world to have this knowledge so that there can be more effective communication between all parties. It's so powerful that I've had online gurus tell me that they're not even interested in hiring me for my skill set. I guess for them it would be easier to find someone who's weaker in language patterns because they would be more easily controlled. So let's take this knowledge to the public because I want you to have these tools so that you could hold your own ground in any conversation, whether it's a toxic narcissistic relationship or maybe you just want to close some sales or help out with your dating life. Well, how about this? My favorite is use these skills to tackle your own limiting beliefs. I've got a great story to share with you guys, but first, let me set the scene, and before we dive too deep into what happened and what seems to continue to happen as we level up our skills with some of these online personalities that want to position themselves as the authority figure. Also, to be fair, as you level up your skills around any group of friends, family, coworkers, you will want to find new circles of people to hang out with because naturally you just won't grow in the same direction that your friends will, and you will have less in common as a side effect. That could be another video all on its own. A huge part of my backstory is that I've been a DJ and operated off the scarcity mindset to basically survive and pay my bills. I worked for a few talent agencies that wanted you to stay in line. If you spoke up or challenged what was going on, you were either brushed off, threatened with lower pay, or even worse, replaced with somebody younger. Circumstances only got worse when there was more money involved with bigger clients, and my talents became more disposable because technology just made things easy for people. Became less appreciated, I guess. I was controlled by a toxic narcissistic personality type that would basically fill your head up with so many stories that you would just leave a conversation with your inside voice on going crazy. This person played themselves off as a friend, but in reality, they were underlying agreements that the person had no intention of upholding anyway. In fact, they would say anything and everything in order to get you to do what they wanted you to do. My boundaries were being pushed, and when it finally came to a head, I received a full array of gaslighting, language patterns to, try and make me out as the bad guy, and it left me just not knowing what was going on. So I was broken and decided to look for answers just like anybody else. I found NLP, hypnosis, and life coaches was the beginnings of me building my abundance mindset. In fact, I felt so relieved that an abundance mindset even existed. I had no idea what to do with it. I was like, oh, how much can I learn? How far can I dive in? It was so different than having the constant fear that something could be taken away from me for no reason at all. I wanted to learn as much as I could, and I studied for hours, read books, bought as many classes as I could, and now I'm finally at the point where I can start teaching this stuff, which leads me to the story I'm about to get into. Like I said before, I had taken as many master classes as I could afford in the fields of NLP and hypnosis, and I took a couple other marketing and sales classes as well. I devoured these teachings and continued to take classes so that I could level up my knowledge and help clients at the same time. I wouldn't say I'm a master, but I would say I got some skills that's got me some good results, and I want to keep growing and helping as many people along the way as I can. The goal is to build a life coach business while maintaining my DJ business as well. The DJ business at the moment is making me money, and I have a 2-year-old to take care of. So one of the online gurus I was heavily involved with posted they were hiring for a position, basically someone to help with the new clients, recruits that were being introduced to the study groups and masterclass program, which I had purchased also. The masterclass is a series of videos to help level up your skills to sell more of your products to become your own online entrepreneur. That's the premise of the class, and they were looking for someone to help manage the new customers that were coming in. In short, let's just call it the crowd control and customer service relation position. So keep in mind this online figure preaches about the abundance mindset, which is the main reason I decided to dive deep into all the classes and teaches to begin with. You could say I was sick of the scarcity mindset, and maybe I still have some wounds healing as I grow to the next phase of my life. The level of malicious language patterns that I used to deal with in order to survive has made me sensitive to this type of behavior. It's the main reason I'm here and want to help the world understand this knowledge so I can empower as many people as possible and get them out of a bad situation if that's where they're in. So I applied for this position. Now, I want to tell you the reason I applied for it. I applied for it because I really liked the teachings that this person taught, and I felt the material was strongly aligned with my interests. I also would like to reference Jordan Peterson, which I watch frequently. I just watched a video recently, and he was talking about the two types of regret that a person has when they're on their deathbed. One regret being the things that they did and messed up with, and the other one, which was more important, the things that they didn't do, wish they could have, because they have no idea, what that new path would have, where it would have took them, right? So Jordan Peterson explains that you won't know what the outcome could be if you don't put yourself out there. So take advantage as many opportunities as possible. In my mind, I would be kicking myself in the head if this person came to me a month from now and said, man, I was really hoping you would have applied for that position, but I guess you were just doing, well with what you were doing, and I saw that our, mindsets kind of aligned. It probably would have worked out. I would have been kicking myself if I would have had that conversation. On the flip side, I can understand that I have a strong personality and that it may not be great for everyone. I've built companies with friends in the past and graciously backed out because two alphas in a room just don't mix, right? Still friends with these people today, even though at the time they were a little heated and couldn't understand why I backed out. But after a while, things calmed down. We figured it out. So from a Facebook post, I said I would like some more information. And the following day, an assistant sent over a Google Doc and asked me to fill it out. Since I'm a business owner and study mostly sales gurus, I knew I had to act fast. I had a 2-year-old daughter with me, and getting to the home office was basically going to be a challenge because you'd be surprised how much she tears up the living room if you're not constantly watching her. So I grabbed my phone, sat on the couch, added the Grammarly plugin, and away I went. I was like, ooh, let's fill this out because I know how important it is. I wanted to be the first one to get this back to the office because in a world of entrepreneurship, being prompt is like a code of honor, and it shows how serious you are. Besides that, the questions in the Google document were along the lines of if I was a self-starter, if I was responsible and dependable. As I filled out this Google document with my daughter climbing on my back, I couldn't have pictured anyone else that was more dedicated than I was. If you can imagine a 2-year-old climbing on me. So another day goes by and I get a Facebook message from this person, and it said something along the lines that I didn't quite understand. Kind of caught me off guard because I was driving and I was on my way to a gig, and yeah, it was raining. So I pulled off to the side of the road and I wanted to answer this as fast as possible. And since I had my phone and I wasn't in front of a computer to text everything out, I ended up responding with a voice message. But the original message that came in was, you appear to have a product program in the same world as what I do. What should I know consider in regards to that? So there's so many different things going on because the question to begin with is so open-ended, right? So I pulled out to the side of the road, I grabbed my phone and I record a message that says, hey man, I saw that you posted that you were hiring for a position, thanks for getting back to me. I really, respect everything that you do, and I really see that everything that you have is aligned with what I'm doing, and the more I could learn, the better off I would be. So here's how the rest of the conversation went. And I'll read it for you word for word, put it up on the screen. It was more than that, at least on paper. You have a program that teaches about Sleight of Mouth, the product that I have on the website. And I said, yeah, I do. What does that mean? I'm really not all competitive. It's just that out of 20 people who applied so far, you're the only one that has a product that technically competes, product program. And I said, of course, so that means I'm the most qualified, right? Because that's another thing you learn in Sleight of Mouth, that you flip things and reframe things to work towards your benefit. And I thought that was kind of like a test. Oh, how well do you know Sleight of Mouth? You're selling it to people. So the next thing, it was like a sideswipe. I was like, I hired someone to help me headhunt, great choice of words, headhunt this role. I'll just quote her words. It doesn't make sense to hire someone to come into your company and get the full behind the scenes tour so they can ramp up their own competing product. And I said, sure thing. You can't swing at the ball if you're not at the plate. And this person responds with, can't eat chicken nuggets at the whorehouse. I have no idea what that even means. And then the next one is, I don't do quality metaphors on the Sabbath. And then I just responded with, I'll make my own spot then. So here I am, making my own spot. So let's break this down a little bit so that we can better understand what's going on. The first thing I would like to mention is that this person preaches about abundance mindset. Remember, this is the main turning point of wanting to follow this person to begin with, not hiring me because I have a product that teaches sleight of mouth only contradicts the abundance mindset. In turn, this person is afraid or teaching me a behind the scenes tour of a product that I basically paid for to begin with. In fact, like I said before, I spent thousands with this person. The product or masterclass to begin with is to teach the thought process or the behind the scenes tour of how to create your own sales and build your own following, or as Billie Jean calls it, a tribe. I was really shocked with this interaction. I was a huge fan and just couldn't figure it out. So I decided, to dissect it so we can, understand it better. This is basically what you teach with sleight of mouth, and the faster that you get at it, the more it picks up in regular conversations. So let's just go ahead and pick this apart a little bit. There's a little bit of understanding what abundance mindset means and what scarcity mindset means. We also teach that in our classes as well. But the first thing that comes to mind, right, is better communication, for something like this would be best. So in the world of NLP, we teach that the message is how it's interpreted. So if you deliver a text message and I don't understand the inflection, like I can't, how do you build rapport, right? You can't see the intent of the face or what exactly is going on. So it's for a mastermind who teaches language patterns, who decides to give you undesirable information, I guess, to send it to you in a text doesn't seem very professional for someone who claims to make thousands, tens of thousands of dollars a month. I was at the mercy of being able to respond with my thumbs, basically. I wanted to respond fast because, again, back in the application process, it was like, are you a self-starter? I'm ready to go. Everybody tells me how much my patience needs to develop. And yet I was like, can I get things done faster? So again, I just wanted to respond fast because that was part of the application. I just had no idea what I was being set up for. Basically, this person was distancing themselves from a conflict or delivering undesirable information. In any case, something serious like hiring somebody for your team, wouldn't you want to talk to them in person or on the phone? Or here's another thing, if you're auditioning to be on stage for a play or something, do you call all 20 people and say, you didn't get the job, you didn't get the job, you didn't get the job, you didn't get the job? No, you call the guys, 3 or 4 guys you want to come back for the second edition, or if you're super solid on whatever you want for that part, you just call the guy that you want. Everybody else doesn't get a call. They just, look for the next role or the next audition, right? So here's another thought, right? So is it okay to buy this person's products? Just don't learn them to the point where you're so good at it that you would want to make a living off of it and record your own classes to be able to sell them, to build your own tribe. Doesn't sound like an abundance mindset to me. In fact, I heard Tony Robbins the other day. He was like, oh yeah, now the self-help classes online are now at the $1 billion market. It just keeps growing. So when you hear somebody like Tony Robbins talk about how much money there is to be made with self-help classes, and then you go to somebody that wants to tell you that, oh yeah, just because the material that I'm teaching so well, I can't hire you because you'll make your own classes and take all of my business. Basically, that's what he was saying. I can't teach you how to operate your own business when the product I sell is to operate your own business, which you're already a member of. So again, it goes back to the thousands of dollars that I spent to get the classes to learn how to build my own business. But I can't teach you how to build your own business because you're so good with language patterns that you're going to take my business. Make any sense? It doesn't make any sense to me. A main point to take away is that when you learn what I learned and understand what I understand, the language patterns, you will realize that you can basically argue any point given what your frame is. So once you set a frame and you understand that you will pivot around every idea there is to hold your point. I mean, this person understands that. Again, this person's a master at language. That's what they do. And to tell me that I can't have you, and to be honest with you, like, my sales aren't that high. I've spent more money. I'm in the red. Like, I've spent more money because I'm so passionate about getting this product online that I haven't even worried about sales yet, because I think it's that important to have it online to empower other people. So on that front, there's another like OG, master at language patterns. And we asked him specifically, Mr. Doug O'Brien, if we could use his material, because the language patterns that we teach come from my background, which is learning how to deal with toxic narcissistic relationships. So Doug O'Brien said that we could, use material that he has, and he has some in his book, and then we explain it how we understand it. So again, if you like my personality or Tharpo's personality and you want to learn about the program we put together, we have that. And then there's also Doug O'Brien, who has material as well, who he is more original than us. It's just about which teacher you learn the best from. That's just kind of how that works. So that's basically, what we think over here is, Let's Get Your Mind Right, is that we want to empower people as much as possible. Here's another thing to think about too. Out of all the people that applied for the position, I was the only one with the knowledge to help teach the material that this person teaches to begin with. So getting a text message to say that out of all the people that applied, you were the furthest away from what I'm looking for to hire. So what do you think the intent was for that? Don't ever apply for another position that I have again. How dare you apply for this position? Oh, you're just so smart that I can't have you, in this position. It wasn't even like, let's feel you out. It was a text message. I don't like your answer. Oh, don't even bother talking to me. or thanks for applying. We really appreciate the fact that, that you think you have the skill set to work alongside me, that, maybe down the road I can figure out a spot for you. No, just don't ever apply again. Or how dare you apply because the person I hired doesn't want to hire you anyway. Oh my goodness. Or what about the fact that somebody like me works so hard to learn this stuff because I don't like somebody linguistically manhandling me. I like to have my own feet planted so that I can stand there and take the conversation that I couldn't take before and turn it around, flip it upside down, however I feel fit. Wouldn't you like to have that power? I could teach that power. Okay, so I could go on and on about this, right? But the main thing I would like to bring to your attention is that this person didn't even take responsibility for their own decision-making skills. There is a technique out there called blame shifting. I'm very familiar with this weapon, and it's been used on me with the narcissistic boss that I used to have. I felt so helpless because I really wanted to call this person out, but I couldn't because they blame shifted to somebody else. Oh, don't be mad at me. It wasn't my fault. It was somebody else's fault, even though this person had all the decision-making power. So it was a way of deflecting. Like, I really think, the person that I used to deal with was spineless because they wouldn't take the responsibility. Oh, don't think badly about me. It's just, I gave this responsibility to somebody else, and that's just what happened. Yeah, that's called blame shifting. It's a way of controlling you. And whatever the outcome is what the outcome is. So you still got to do whatever it is if you want to get the paycheck or whatever you agreed to or had a bait and switch, is that the person just wouldn't take the responsibility and pass it off to somebody else. And that could be dangerous. If something didn't work out in my favor, they wouldn't take the blame. This person would pass the blame off to the spouse, a secretary. On the surface, this may seem harmless, but the reality is that this person is spineless and won't take responsibility for the decisions they have the power over. I can't trust a person like that because they could do whatever they want and pass the blame off in any direction the wind blows. So what's your defense to that? Your defense to that is that you could call out that process and take away the power from it. And this will in turn make the other person, either find a different technique to use on you or treat you with respect. That could possibly happen too. And they won't treat you like an imbecile because you'll know what they're up to. Another online guru that I follow, his name is Billy Jean. Now, the first thing Billy Jean teaches in his code of conduct is that everything is my fault. And that's a great attitude to have, and that's a lot of respect I have for Billy Jean for just having that one rule in his code of conduct. So what he means by that, if you say everything is my fault, I could look at that like, oh, I guess it was just, my fault for applying for the job to begin with. or maybe it's my fault that I learned so much about the language patterns that somebody else can't control me. That's a good way to look at it, right? So whether you want to challenge an online guru, help with your dating life, close sales, or even better, use these skills on your limiting beliefs, I have a video series, and I'd like to introduce you to the Sleight of Mouth videos that we put together. And start using them today. Or if you would like some one-on-one coaching, make sure to sign up for our mailing list. Reach out. Thanks for listening. And you know what? You can do it.